Based on the 1900 book, it was far from the first adaptation, nor even the last one based on the Oz books. But its longevity has proven to be, for many, the most definitive version of the story. The production of the film, as we know it as today, was that of a complicated ordeal. Many of the directors were in and out of the project, which led to a false start and scrapping 10 days worth of filming. Fateful incidences that nearly cost the lives of some of the actors, and a pre-release alternative cut of the final movie. The survival of many of these missing scenes are sadly unfortunate. However, there are enough surviving fragments where we can piece together the original lost version of the picture. Before we start our merry journey in Oz, remember, if you like what you see and you want to see more like it, then don't forget to subscribe. With the context out of the way, let's hop back down the yellow brick road. Before we begin, a special thank you to Josh from Loose Leaf Celluloid for contributing the research. Be sure to check out their podcast series. To get some missing media found, be sure to spread the word out there. Now, the true origins of this Wizard of Oz adaptation is a little bit up for debate. The two men that have often been credited for seeding the project was the new up-and-coming film creative, Arthur Freed, and already established film producer, Mervyn LeRoy. Given that he already had his foot in the door with MGM, it's most certain that Mervyn LeRoy was most likely the instigator to convince the studio to spend so much on the picture. In fact, according to historian Gino Hartnett, that LeRoy was annoyed that Arthur Freed was taking up so much credit, despite his name being nowhere on the picture. Anyway, regardless, the biggest inspiration for making the movie was by the recently released Walt Disney Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It seemed like the right time to make a light-hearted fantasy story. They employed the director, Norman Taurog, to steer the boat of the project. He was a well-known director for handling children's media. The most important casting was who was going to play the main star, little Kansas girl, Dorothy. Frances Ethel Gum was proposed to take the role, starting her career at the age of 2 alongside her sisters, named the Gump Sisters. But by the age of 16, she was within a 3-year contract with MGM with a new stage name, Judy Garland, who wasn't necessarily seen as a glamorous star before The Wizard of Oz, being nicknamed a fat little pig with pigtails. There were slight considerations to get Shelley Temple as Dorothy. As a bit of box office draw, composer and Garland's mentor, Roger Ebens, made an arrangement to hear Shelley Temple sing on the 20th Century lot. He wasn't convinced that she had the vocal capability of performing the songs. That and 20th Century Fox wouldn't let her go, so it wasn't a serious consideration. Thus, Judy Garland would have indefinitely garnered the role, under the condition that she could lose a bit of weight. This had been the big break Judy Garland had been waiting for. It's gone down in legend of Ray Bolger initially cast to play the Tin Man, and Buddy Epson proposed to be the Scarecrow, before Bolger convinced the executives to switch the roles around. This tall tale may be a simplification of what really happened. The roles for both the Scarecrow and the Tin Man were seen interchangeably, either actor to possibly fit the role. The Scarecrow was considered to be a slightly bigger part due to the character having more screen time, so there was some back and forth of behind the scenes of who should play who. So it may be feasible that Bolger really fought to get the part of the Scarecrow, but he certainly wasn't locked down to play the Tin Man. Ray Bolger had a tendency for sensationalizing his stories.
Ray would begin to rhapsodize on how thrilled they were to be making the picture, and I'm sure in Ray's mind that notion still exists, but my father would bring him up short, always saying, Ray, you know that's not true, it was a miserable job.
I am too old for this. I am. This is the last straw.
The cowardly lion was an immense headache for the studio. On what would be the best approach? The considerations were to have the lion as a 2D animated character, or have the studio utilizing their real-life Leo the Lion, then later have the dialogue to be dubbed in. But in the midst charm of the original Oz books was how dysfunctional the group were, thus having an artificial character to be placed in during post-production would have spoilt the comedic timing for the other cast members. Thus, it was decided to make the lion into a costume character, with the casting going to...
Yeah. So yeah, guys, I'm going to do some work in a little bit. So yeah, guys, I'm going to be doing some weird stuff later on the channel. But eventually, guys, I want to do something stupid, but eventually I'm going to do it. Ooh, okay, so like I said, if I had the money, guys, if I had the money, I would actually do something for you guys right now, like remake some videos. Now, every YouTuber, most YouTubers like me agree with one thing: the hardest video.
Do we survive overnight using Facebook Marketplace items only? We eat.
Okay, guys, Tyler here. Now, before we start, there's something I want to say. The only thing that most YouTubers have the problem is cut.